Welcome back to the deep dive. I want you to imagine a scenario. You've spent, say, 2 years working on a huge project, a massive presentation. You get all the way to the final stage, the semifinals, and you lose. You're just devastated. All you want to do is go home. But you can't. They tell you, hey, start around. In a few days, you've got to play one more game against the other team that just lost.
The dreaded third-place playoff. It is, I think, the most divisive fixture in all of sport.
It has to be.
I mean, in the European Championships, they got rid of it decades ago. The teams just hated it. They felt like it was just rubbing salt in the wound.
Exactly. It feels like the definition of a consolation prize. But the match we're talking about today, it seems like that logic just got thrown right out the window. We are looking at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations third-place playoff.
And if you just glanced at the fixture, Nigeria versus Egypt, you might think, okay, this will be a sleepy one.
Yeah.
Usually the stars fly home, the managers play the reserves.
Right, everyone's just going through the motions.
But not this time. Because the two teams were, as you said, Nigeria and Egypt. The Super Eagles and the Pharaohs.
Two absolute giants.
Exactly. We're talking about the two most successful nations in the tournament's history. Between them, they have 10 continental titles. So when these two meet, even for bronze, there's no such thing as a friendly.
Okay, but here's the thing that threw me. I looked at the scoreline. 0-0. After 90 minutes, it goes to penalties. My first thought was, all right, two tired teams, nobody really wanted it, they just dragged it out to a shootout.
I understand why you'd think that.
So our mission today, I guess, is to figure out if I'm wrong. Was this just a boring stalemate, or was there something else bubbling under the surface?
You are definitely wrong about the boring part. We've pulled reports from BBC Sport, ESPN, and Beyond Sports, and they all point to this being a psychological thriller. It wasn't about flair, it was about fear, redemption, and a very specific historical obsession.
Historical obsession. Okay, I'm listening. What are we talking about here?
Well, you have to get into the mindset of Nigeria. ESPN had this fascinating piece about how the Super Eagles see this particular match. They don't call it the loser's bracket.
Yeah.
They call it the golden bronze.
Golden bronze. That sounds like a marketing slogan to make yourself feel better about not winning the whole thing.
It sounds like that, doesn't it? But get this. There's hard data behind it. Going into this match, Nigeria had this incredible anomaly in their record books. They'd played in this exact fixture, the third-place playoff, 8 times before.
Okay.
And they had won 8 times. They have never, ever lost a match for the bronze medal. It's become this point of national pride, this idea that we might not always win gold, but we never leave empty-handed.
That is actually a wild statistic. 8-0 in consolation games. So while everyone else is mentally checked out, Nigeria treats it like a title defense.
That's it, exactly. They see the podium as their birthright. And on the other side, you had Egypt. They'd lost 3 of these playoffs. They wanted to close the gap. So you have one team protecting a legacy and the other desperate to salvage some pride.
Let's talk about that, because the motivation for these games always depends on how you lost the semifinal, right?
And that's where the context gets so heavy. Both teams were walking onto that pitch with massive emotional baggage. Let's start with Egypt. They lost their semi 1-0 to Senegal.
The Senegal again.
Yes, and it's becoming a real complex for them. Sadio Mane's Senegal beat them in the last AFCON final. They knocked them out of World Cup qualifying. And now this. It's like a recurring nightmare for them.
Oof.
Their coach, Hassan, was complaining about the schedule, but you could just feel the desperation. They had to prove something.
And then there's Nigeria. Their exit sounds even worse to me. They lost on penalties to the hosts, Morocco.
And this is the key. You have to keep the word penalties in your head for this entire story. Nigeria didn't just lose that shootout. Back in November, they also lost a penalty shootout to DR Congo in a World Cup qualifier.
Wow. So back-to-back shootout losses in huge games.
Exactly. The psychological scar tissue there is thick. The team, the fans, the media. Everyone was terrified of this game going to spot kicks. They felt cursed. So Nigeria had the gold and bronze to protect, but also this paralyzing fear that if they didn't win in 90 minutes, they were doomed.
Which explains the tension. I was surprised looking at the lineups, though. I saw Mohamed Salah started for Egypt.
That was a shock. I mean, Liverpool are in a title race. Usually the club manager's on the phone saying, get him home now.
Right.
But Liverpool's manager, Arne Slot, confirmed he'd play. It signaled serious intent. Salah wanted that medal.
And Nigeria, were they at full strength?
Mostly. The captain Wilfred Ndidi was back. But they were missing their biggest weapon. Victor Osimhen, their star striker, was on the bench with an ankle knock.
Injured.
Yeah, he never played a single minute.
Yeah.
So Nigeria was trying to keep this perfect record alive without their best goal scorer.
Okay, so the setup is perfect. Casablanca. Two wounded giants. One terrified of penalties, the other desperate. The whistle blows, and it's 0-0. But you called it a thriller. What was actually happening?
It was a classic case of, well, what the tactical nerds would call sterile domination versus counterpunching. If you just look at the raw stats, Egypt had like 53% possession. They passed it around nicely.
The possession can be a liar.
A huge liar. They did almost nothing with it. One shot on target. The entire game. Just one.
Wow.
Nigeria, on the other hand, they were happy to let Egypt have the ball. But the second they won it back, they went straight for the throat. They had 4 shots on target, created way more chances inside the box.
So Nigeria was the better team.
Functionally, yes.
Yeah.
And they actually put the ball in the net. Twice.
Wait, twice. I totally missed this in the box score. Disallowed goals.
And this is the aha moment. This is where the game went from a contest to a real drama. About 9-4 halftime, Nigeria gets a cross in, it's headed down, hits the striker Paul Onuachu, and it's in. Goal. They're celebrating.
And the dreaded VAR walk.
The referee, Jalal Jade, gets the call in his ear. He goes to the monitor and decides to disallow it for a foul by Onuachu on the defender, Hamdi Fathi. Now, looking at the replays, this was generous, to put it mildly.
What actually happened?
Onuachu is a huge guy. He just stood his ground. The defender basically ran into the back of his arm and threw himself down. You'd call it a flop in basketball. But the ref bought it. Goal scrub.
That's got to be just crushing. You finally score, and it's taken away on a technicality.
And then it happened again in the second half. Ademola Lookman, who just come on, puts a header in, flag goes straight up. Offside.
Correct call this time.
That one was correct, yeah. But the cumulative effect on the players is just exhaustion. You start to feel like the universe is against you.
There was also a penalty shout, wasn't there?
Yeah, later on, an Egyptian defender pretty clearly shoves a Nigerian attacker in the back. Looked blatant. The referee waves it away. So they're creating chances, having goals disallowed, being denied penalties, and all the while the clock is just ticking down.
And they know what's coming.
They know exactly what's coming. Straight to penalties. The one thing they feared most.
So the whistle blows. It's 0-0. We go to the shootout. I have to imagine the body language of the Nigerian players was just awful.
It was heavy. You could see it. They're walking to the center circle, and you just know they're thinking about Morocco, about DR Congo. And it starts in the worst possible way. Nigeria's first kicker, Fisayo Delabashiro, steps up.
Don't tell me he missed.
Saved. The Egyptian keeper, Mostafa Shobair, guesses right and stops it. So immediately on the very first kick, Nigeria is behind. The nightmare is real.
At that point, if you're a Nigerian fan, you're turning off the TV. You've seen this movie before.
100%. But this is where sport gives you these moments that just make no sense. Enter Stanley Nwabali,
The Nigerian goalkeeper.
the man who had to face Mohamed Salah.
So Salah steps up first for Egypt.
Yep, the chance to really cement their lead. He's one of the best in the world from the spot. Steps up, hits it low to the right, and Nwabali reads it perfectly.
He saves
That
it.
pushes it away. A brilliant save.
That is massive.
It just sucked all the air out of Egypt's confidence. I mean, if Salah misses, who's safe? The playing field is suddenly level again.
But Nwabali wasn't done. I read about a trailing leg save. What was that?
Oh, this was the highlight of the shootout. A few kicks later, Omar Marmoush is up for Egypt. He tries to be clever. He sees Nwabali dive, so he smashes it right down the middle.
Katanenka style.
Not quite a chip, just a hard shot down the center. And Nwabali has already committed. His body's flying through the air. But, and this is just pure instinct, he leaves his leg trailing behind him. The ball just smacks off his calf and bounces out.
That's incredible. So he's diving one way, but leaves a limb in the danger zone, just in case.
It's unbelievable athleticism.
Yeah.
And it just broke Egypt. You can see it.
So Nigeria has the advantage. It comes down to the final kick. Ademola Lookman. If he scores, the curse is broken.
And this is where the Egyptian keeper, Shobair, starts with the mind games. He's dancing on the line, he's pointing, trying to get in Lookman's head.
Did it work?
Not even a little bit. Lookman was just ice cold. Didn't even look at him, ran up, slotted it perfectly into the bottom left corner.
Game over.
Game over. Nigeria wins the shootout 4-2. The relief was unbelievable. It wasn't just a celebration, it was an exorcism.
So let's zoom out. We started by asking if this match even matters. Nigeria wins. They extend this record to 9 out of 9 in third-place games. 16 total podiums. Is that actually a big deal?
I think it is, for two reasons. One is money.
Yeah.
The winner gets $10 million, third place gets less, but it's still millions for the federation. But more importantly, it creates this culture of what you might call floor raising.
What do you mean by that?
It means even when Nigeria has a bad tournament, their floor is the semifinals. They rarely crash out early. And that consistency is terrifying for everyone else. They're always there. They're constant.
The golden bronze is a real thing then.
It's a real thing. It's their safety net.
But on the other side of that, we have Mohamed Salah.
Yeah. And this is the tougher part of the conversation.
It feels like every time we talk about Salah at the international level, it's with a sigh.
It's becoming a bit of a tragic narrative. At Liverpool, he wins everything. But with Egypt, he's lost 2 AFCON finals, now a semifinal, a third-place playoff. And in this game, having his own penalty saved, it felt symbolic.
And you mentioned the Sadio Mane comparison earlier.
It's the comparison that has to haunt him. His former teammate, Mane, has that AFCON trophy. Mane keeps beating him head-to-head. It reinforces this idea that while Salah is a brilliant individual, he hasn't been able to drag Egypt over that finish line.
It also feels like Egypt just relies on him too much. When he didn't score, they looked toothless.
And that's the danger of the Golden Generation label. You expect the star to do everything. Nigeria showed that a team system, even missing its best striker, can outwork an individual.
Speaking of missing strikers,
Yeah.
you mentioned Hossam didn't play. That had a kind of ripple effect on the rest of the tournament.
It did, yeah. It directly impacted the Golden Boot race for top scorer.
How so?
Well, with Hassan out and Salah not scoring, the path was suddenly wide open for Morocco's Brahim Diaz, who was sitting on 5 goals.
Ah, okay.
So this 0-0 third-place game basically handed him the advantage before the final against Senegal was even played.
It's funny how it's all connected. A sore ankle for a Nigerian striker helps a Moroccan winger win an award.
The butterfly effect of tournament football.
So we've unpacked it, the trauma, the VAR controversy, the trailing leg, the redemption. Nigeria goes home with medals. Egypt goes home with questions.
And Nigeria goes home with that perfect 9-for-9 record intact.
But I want to end on a provocative thought. We've been praising this Nigerian consistency, the golden bronze. But is there a downside to being this good at finishing third?
That is the million-dollar question.
Think about it. If you know deep down that third place is still seen as a success back home, does it take away that desperate do-or-die edge you need to win the whole thing?
I see what you mean. Does the safety net become a hammock? If you're too comfortable with bronze, maybe you don't fight quite as hard in that semifinal.
Exactly. Is Nigeria a dynasty of excellence or a dynasty of almost?
And for Egypt, the question's the opposite. How long can you lean on history? We have 7 titles. Before the pressure of the current drought just breaks you. History is a heavy shield, but it can't score your penalties for you.
Fascinating stuff. Next time you're debating African football, drop that 9 out of 9 stat and ask if it's a blessing or a curse.
It's Delia Conversation Starter.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive, a game that looked like nothing on paper but meant everything on the pitch.
Keep questioning the narrative.
We'll catch you on the next one.